Welcome to BitBoy Crypto, the largest cryptocurrency channel in all the interwebs. My name is TJ, and I'll be your host for today's episode of Around the Blockchain. Every weekday, Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time, we come to you live to discuss the trending crypto topics of the day, as well as answer some of your most asked questions. We got a really good show lined up for you today with some really good guests. First off, back from Texas, riding in with the sun on his back, we've got Ben Armstrong, bringing back the heat. As well as we're going to be joined by always a crowd favorite, CryptoWendyO, as well as Nerd Girl joining us today, and don't call him a moon boy, Cryptonauts. We've got some really good subjects to cover. Topic-wise, we're going to be looking at NFL players asking to be paid in Bitcoin. Is this going to be a trend we'll see in the future from celebrities and high net income earners wanting to be paid in Bitcoin? We've got some more news on everybody's favorite meme coin, or at least Barstool's favorite meme coin, Safemoon, with some kind of negative news coming out about their smart contracts and some of the stuff, potential risks involved with that project, as well as GameStop making a play to move into the NFT space, potentially with a NFT platform. And maybe, is this a last-ditch effort, or will this bring GameStop right back to relevancy just as one of those nostalgic brands that we all know and love? So as always, links in the description for all of these guest channels. If you like anything you hear, be sure to go and give them a like and a subscribe. They all make really great content. There's a score box in the bottom right-hand corner for each guest, so if you like any comments they make on any of these questions, drop a +1 in the chat. We'll know to give them a point. Whoever has the most points at the end of the episode will be our winner. They'll have 30 seconds to give a parting thought to the audience. So, just to go ahead and get us started, Ben, football players. We've got Russell Okung, we know, have been earning a lot of money. We had Chris Connolly in here the other day talking about how, Bitcoin is a big factor when it comes to locker room talk. Do we think this is going to be a recurring trend where we see athletes and celebrities and some notable figures like this asking to be paid a percentage of their salaries or all of their salaries in crypto and Bitcoin as time goes on? What do you think?
Oh, how the tables have turned. That's what I have to say. When I was a kid, I wanted to be an athlete. I wanted to play professional sports, and now they want to be in Bitcoin. So it looks like I came out on top. In all seriousness, though, I do think this is very interesting. I kind of do feel like, though, this is probably going to end up blowing up in our face, because about the time it gets really hot and a lot of people are doing this and choosing this option, the bear market's going to hit at the end of this year, right in the middle of football season, and it's probably going to be ugly. I mean, if the last couple of weeks hasn't told us that we are very capable of going through another 85% drop in a bear market, then I don't think people were paying attention. This narrative that it's all bull all the time, Michael Saylor and stuff like that. I like Michael, but I'm just saying, he says it's going to go up forever, maybe small corrections, but I think we will have another typical cycle. So when you think about that compared to when the hype will happen for the NFL players and, NBA players and stuff like that, it is pretty interesting. I think that, what's a little safer play for a lot of these people is getting into NFTs and selling their own merchandise, but then there's licensing issues. We know that because we're working with the top level football player right now, real football, that is, not the over the pond football. Okay, we're working with a very top level, top player in the league. Very excited about it. Can't wait to reveal more about that down the road. But the point is because of this, we've been learning a lot of the restrictions they have, being able to even use their own likeness and their own team and logos and stuff like that. So it's a big process. So I think that's actually a safer play for a lot of these people, because NFTs and online digital merchandise is the future. And I don't think we're going to see as big of a correction in that as we do with the actual prices of crypto projects. So just an interesting time. Excited to see the athletes getting on board.
Yeah, and a lot of these, if you guys have been following this specifically with Russell Okung, Zap is the main payment processor that's enabling a lot of these people to be paid in
Interesting.
Bitcoin. And we've got Jack
That's Nick Spanos, right?
No, that's actually a different Zap.
That's a different Zap.
It's a Zap app.
Zap.
But they both use that Zap, but it's actually Jack Mallers' company who does a lot of Bitcoin and Lightning Network work to process a lot of this stuff. He's giving reports that he said two different players from both the Yankees and the Brooklyn Nets, which is actually interesting, kind of ties back to some of the discussions we've had with
That's
players.
Very interesting.
Yeah, that
Did
they
somebody
are
steal them from us? I don't know.
That they are wanting to be paid percentage of their payments in Bitcoin as well. So Wendy, I'm curious to hear from you. Do you think do you think we're going to see this? I know Ben said it could kind of backfire long term, but do you think we'll see this trend continue of like the FOMO of like, hey, I'm getting all this money, I'd like to get a percentage in an asset maybe that doesn't deflate as fast as the dollar?
100%. You're going to see a lot more players go ahead and ask for cryptocurrency or Bitcoin as payment. You're also going to see a lot more sponsorships from a lot of these players coming out and accepting them, which I think is awesome. I think probably the best way to market in crypto is to have sponsorships of MMA fighters or different people in professional sports. I agree with Ben that it could potentially backfire because the market will correct eventually. However, I do think that when the mainstream, when the masses start to see their heroes obtain payments in Bitcoin for salaries, that it might inspire some small businesses to start doing the same. There's quite a few different resources out there that you can use. There's Bitcoin IRAs and 401ks, different things like that. And I think that a lot of companies should, give the option to their employees to go ahead and do that. So overall, it is a positive thing for me, but at the same time, there is risk associated with it. I don't think anybody should ever get their whole entire salary in Bitcoin because right now the price is just too volatile. I wouldn't feel comfortable doing it.
Yeah, that is definitely a volatile way to live life. And you mentioned a good point with matches from companies. That's actually something we're looking into doing here is a potential 401k matching with Bitcoin type of thing. But we've also seen in the past some places like Miami where they're letting some of their employees be paid in Bitcoin or potentially pay taxes in Bitcoin. So do you think, Nerd Girl, I'd be interested to hear your take. Do you think we're going to see more businesses, companies, cities, governments making this an option for their employees to maybe attract more business?
Well, so I have worked in the cryptocurrency industry for the last like 3 years. So all of my salary for years has been paid in Bitcoin and other
There
cryptocurrencies.
you go.
So I mean, yeah, I think that we'll probably see more people being paid that way, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's like bullish for crypto or for Bitcoin because people's salaries are still paid relative to their dollar value. I mean, like, same thing, like, I'm still paid, the amount of Bitcoin or the amount of Ethereum each month relative to what it would be worth in dollars. So, I think unless people were starting to accept a fixed amount of crypto as their monthly or yearly salary because they were so sure that it's going to go up, that I don't really think that that's necessarily a sign of adoption. And a couple other questions that I had, like going through the article, were like, are athletes known for being good with money?
Good point. Great point.
And also, no, I mean, I'm asking, like, are they? And then
Well,
also,
we know
who
the answer.
owns, operates? Sorry.
I was just saying, like, we know the answer. We've seen the 30 for 30 specials.
Yeah, traditionally, no.
Right.
Not typically. But now I will say that trend is changing very, very fast.
Yeah.
The business-minded athlete is a much bigger thing today than it was even 5 years ago. But sorry, go ahead, continue.
Yeah, and so the only other flag that I had, going over that was like, who owns, operates, and funds the daily hodl and what's in their bag?
That's a good point. I mean, that is something that can be said of almost any major crypto media outlet. I know Ben loves talking about his favorite Cointelegraph and maybe what some of their motivations are behind some of the articles.
Well, their biggest bag is the Rupel, I believe is what you call that.
Yeah. But Cryptonauts.
For sure, I've worked in.
Go ahead.
I've worked in crypto media. I know how it works. Yeah.
Exactly. Yep. Exactly. So, Cryptonaut, what do you think as far as like athletes, celebrities, major type people, and then and I actually kind of want to switch gears here a little bit. Do you think we could see some social media like Twitter, Twitch, that already or TikTok actually already has digital wallets built in, has like a digital currency native within the app that's not really heavily pushed or used right now? Do you think we could start to see other forms of payment coming across digital? Oh, you got the puppy. So cute.
Oh, it's a dog.
Yeah, that's little Ada right there. She's the sweetest. Loves attention. But anyway, Cryptonaut, I'm curious to hear your thought on kind of like decentralized social media as we get into that. And do you think that's going to start to grow over time?
Hey man, yeah, great question. First off, thanks for having me. Really glad to be here. What's up to the BitBoy community? And let's get into it.
Let's
So
go.
regarding the athletes, I feel like my take is also pretty similar to what everyone else has said. I feel like it's good, but also just with caution because the more people that enter, that's if it ends badly, they're gonna blame us. You know what I mean? And that's the last thing we need right now. I don't feel like we should be
Absolutely.
taking the heat, for stuff like that. Regarding decentralized social media, I think it could if there were, if people were building in the wallets directly, whether they just have to make it easy. I feel like with a good UI and UX, as long as they don't have to know that it's on the blockchain and it's running, then people like my family, my cousins, my uncles, they can use it. You know what I mean? Like they can just click and use it, and as long as they can interact with it without needing to know that it's on the blockchain, I think we're good. Because a lot of our audience, they're pretty beginner, and it's really easy to go over somebody's head as soon as you start talking about token formats. They have to put in the gas themselves, and however it is, proof of stake coming this way, and everyone's going to have to delegate their stake to verify transactions. That's going to hinder a lot of things, I think. So in the long run, if they can make the user experience very easy and user interface like really nice to use, it could work. I feel like it could work.
Yeah, that's a good point, and that's probably one of the biggest missing pieces with most crypto and blockchain applications right now is that user experience is very clunky. It's not very similar to most of the apps that people use in everyday life. So I think it's interesting. Both you and Nerd Girl mentioned something like she said, like when you get paid in crypto, you don't get. It's not a set amount. Like it's a elastic. When the price is down, you get paid the same amount in dollars as you would every week. So earning in crypto can be advantageous over time. But and then kind of what you said, when these things function as if the apps that we're already using and that people don't know they're using blockchain. So when we get to a point where things are more similar to what people are used to using is when we'll really start to see this stuff take off. So Ben, on the topic of decentralized social media, or like, do you think, like we've seen, speaking of clunky apps, we've seen some blockchain applications try to tackle this thing and it hasn't exactly been the most, like some of them work, they function okay, but it pales in comparison to the social media apps we use every single day. Do you
don't view your Steam feed every day?
Not every day.
No, you don't. Okay.
No. Not or Hive or Float or any of them, unfortunately. But we believe in them and we push them and we try to promote them and we try to prop them up. But I'm curious to hear from you. Do you think you'll see a TikTok or a Twitch or something where there's already a currency involved with it adopting blockchain technology, and then that being a big catalyst that brings? Oh, that's funny that you've got that in your background. I just noticed it.
Pay me in Bitcoin. Pay that man his money.
Do you think that will be a big swap we see in the near future, or do you think it's going to be from the ground up?
Well, it's interesting because right before we went on air, I just made a TikTok about PayPal. Now, I know it's not social media, but they do have Venmo, which is a form of social media in a way. Mm-hmm. They just said, they talked about today. Did you know Consensus is going on right now? Virtual Consensus? Yeah, what a bunch of nerds. But speaking of bad media, but anyways, the point here is that PayPal was asked today at Consensus. They said, number one, they're about to start letting users withdraw their crypto, which is big. That's huge. And number two, they were asked about a PayPal coin and they dodged the question, right? So there is a stable coin probably coming in the next 4 to 5 years, if not sooner, for PayPal. So, what we see the money and payment processors do, you can think the social media will be doing in short order afterwards. And they're trying to get their hands around. I think TikTok, what's funny is TikTok already does have a virtual currency, but it's not a crypto. So like when you do lives, you get paid in these little coins, and then, you can convert the coins into dollars. So TikTok's already set up for a real easy transition there. The problem is none of these larger social media companies are going to move over to a decentralized model that works until someone develops a decentralized social media model that works. And it's not clunky, people can use and things like that. So I think we will see it. I don't think it's going to be anytime super soon, but we are advisors for Hyper and SoMe. SoMe's got their utility token coming out soon, the SAT token. It's going to be launching on Card Starter. It's a project we're invested in. But I'm an advisor for both of those projects. With Somi, totally unpaid as an advisor for them. I really just believe in what they're doing. Hyper, we do have a paid partnership with them, but we believe in a future of decentralized social media, whether or not, you know, these are the ones or not that are going to make it. Like, we want to support the ones that have the good ideas and are pushing, you know, decentralization, because Facebook sucks. Twitter sucks. We all know that.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It's got a long way to go and definitely needs some improvement. I am actually really interested to see what Somi's like when it really launches, and it could be one of the big, you know, the big apps on Cardano, really. So that could be interesting as that ecosystem starts to develop. But real quick, we're getting some questions in the chat about the market specifically for Wendy. I don't know if you want to, if you've got any charts, or if you don't mind pulling up and looking at some prices. If you can, you should be set up to screen share now if you're interested in doing that. So
yes.
we
What do they want to know?
They basically just are bullish or bearish.
Is Bitcoin going up?
Yeah,
Is
exactly.
Bitcoin going to the moon, Wendy? You know that's what they want to know. Why would you ask? Crypto go up or crypto go down?
Yeah.
Okay. So can you guys see this screen?
Yes, we can. Looks great.
Okay. So this is a chart that this is me zooming out, and this is actually the daily chart. But the reason why we're looking at the daily chart is easier to kind of see what is happening here. And I'm going to be dropping a video tonight about how to use EMAs and a basic explanation of what they are. But it's basically the lazy man or woman's guide to support and resistances. MACD is looking like it wants to bear cross. We are looking immensely strong here. So this is a good sign, a positive sign. Again, this is a lagging indicator. We created a beautiful bottom at about $35,000. This was my crucial range here, about $38,000 to about $33,000. We broke above the range. This is my vibe and consolidate range. And now we're getting ready to flip above the EMA 9 and retest the EMA 200. We need to get this crossed. We need to get above the EMA 200. We need all of our EMAs to be vertical, and we need the EMA 9 to be at the top because it is the smallest one. I think it's looking like if we're able to flip this, we're going to retest $42,000. $42,000 would be an incredible area of resistance to flip into support. If we can flip 42,000 into support, it's going to be go time. We can then test about 46,000 and then climb up. But the reason why this area is so important to me, let me just show you really quick. I don't want to take too much time. This is the monthly. Let me go to the weekly. It's not here. Where the heck is it? It's right here. This line right over here is immensely important. This range between about 42 to 46,000, because right when we smashed above this range and really 46,000, that's when we got that all-time high of about 65,000. So this is why if we flip this area at 46, it is complete go time, but we still do have a lot of work to go short term.
Yeah, that's a really good analysis. I would probably agree with that 100%. Is there any moving averages? I know you kind of assess all of them. Is there any that you watch more closely than others, or kind of go-tos that you check every day, or just kind of switch?
So the moving averages that I use, that I like to use for altcoins in particular, we're using this for Bitcoin today just because I charted this stuff out. I use market Cipher as well. Absolutely amazing indicator for Confluence. But I like to use the EMA 9, which is the green line. The EMA 21, which is the blue line, EMA 30, which is the pink line, EMA 50, which is my, where the heck is it? I have to check the white line. The EMA 100 is the purple, and the EMA 200, which is the pink line here. And these are pretty standard EMAs, very easy to go ahead and use. And I'll be dropping a tutorial on my show tonight about them.
Perfect.
That's great. Can you tell me more about the hold me mommy line?
So that's basically that when things.
No, I just want to know about the name. I just want to know about the name of it. That's all. I don't care where it is.
I'm a mom, and you
so you're gonna hold them when it's that low. It's really sad.
I'm gonna tell them to go hold their mothers, to ask mommy for a hug.
Yeah. Sometimes you just need to be held by mom. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's really good. And for those of you guys at home, those numbers after EMA are the days. So when she says EMA 21, that's 21 days, 100 days, 200 days. So it's like she said, she's going to drop a video tonight. Everybody go check it out. I'm sure the explanation will be really good. And if you ever wanted to learn about how to use those tools, go check that video out. The link is in the description. So speaking of things that maybe don't look quite as bullish, we've got a report out from Safemoon today. We had an auditing company that's kind of looked at the smart contract. They've seen a lot of different issues with it. There was a lot of reports that came out weeks ago that looked like some potential bugs. Now I think they're saying a vulnerability, 285 million has already been stolen. You know, more or less they could completely make the token untradeable, lock up 100% of the funds at any point in time. We haven't really seen any price impact from that at all. Like, it kind of stabilized after the main dip last week and it's just kind of been holding strong. Do you think when this kind of gets more mainstream news, do you think it's going to dump more, or do you think people just don't care? They're just in it for the fun and they don't really care about this technical stuff. Ben, we'll start with you on
that. Yeah, I mean, Safemoon obviously is not something you want to be invested in. I mean, that's all I'll say. I mean, it's pretty, at this point, it's pretty clear with the release of all these vulnerabilities. We saw this a lot over the summer with projects that follow this track. It's going to get worse and worse and worse. And I think this is going to end badly, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, I agree. And like you said, over the summer, we experienced a lot of rug pulling, and that was where a lot of us learned about liquidity and liquidity drying up, and, you know, having a bag full of tokens that says you have hundreds of thousands of dollars and you literally have zero. So, Wendy, do you think people will learn about this? Or, like, do you think, is Portnoy going to keep propping it up, or do you think it's going to, you know, it's going to go down in a ball of flames really soon?
I have a feeling this thing is going to get dragged out for a very long time. And unfortunately, a lot of people are going to get wrecked because they are not very well versed in reading code, which I'm not either. I have guys that I send my stuff to when I have questions. But if an audit report comes back bad, guys, or you're hearing FUD about it, go in the Telegram, ask questions, do research. And if there's potential risks, just stay the heck away from it. There's 8,000 other cryptocurrency projects you can toss money in that are a lot safer.
Yeah, no, I think that's good advice. And then Nerd Girl, if for those of the people that maybe have bought it, they have made some money, now it dipped back and they're in the red a little bit, would you say this might be a good time to cut losses, or do you think people, you know, maybe ride it out and try to catch one last pump?
Yeah, well, so, you know, I'm not a financial advisor and this is not financial advice, but I just did a DD report on Safemoon a couple of days ago, you know, suggesting whether or not it should be eligible for listing on, or not listing, but for rewards on a decentralized exchange. And one thing that I discovered was that Safemoon is a clone of proof of weak hands, which I'm not sure if anyone remembers what that is, but it was an open 4chan Ponzi scheme from 2018 that raised about $1 million in 3 days and then made off with 800,000 of it. So the vulnerabilities that HashX identified, they identified 12 vulnerabilities and said that 2 of them are critical. What's really interesting is that CertiK audited Safemoon in April. They also identified 12 vulnerabilities, but said 0 were critical, 1 was major, and 12 were minor. However, looking through what those vulnerabilities are, they're exactly the same ones that caused the people from Proof of Weak Hands in 2018 to rug pull. So I'm not even sure how it got through its initial audit. And then, you know, who do you trust? Like, this was definitely really good advertising for HashX.
Yeah. No, it gets weird, you know, when like you said, you can't even trust the auditors, and when they call certain things critical, minor, or major, like if you actually read through the vulnerabilities yourself, like most of them seemed pretty major to me. Like, there, you know, some of them you could classify as minor, but like being able to stop the liquidity, that's pretty major. Being able to stop all funds from being transferred, that's pretty major. You know, like there's some big stuff that was very obviously could be done, but we kept seeing it pushed and pushed and pushed. So Cryptonauts, I'm interested to hear from you. Like, it's so obvious to us that have been in this cycle for a certain amount of time, and we can look back and have an exact project like you just mentioned, Proof of Weak Hands, that's like, we've seen this exact thing before, and here we go with the same thing again. Like, what is it you say to these new people that they see it going up, they see people making money, their friends are making money left and right, Dave Portnoy's talking about it now? Like, how do you have that conversation with people who sometimes just don't want to hear it?
I think at the end of the day, the decision is up to them. If you're going to invest in something, that's your money. There's nothing that I could say or do to kind of force you to whether to buy something or not. But that being said, I think it's important to just take it as what it is. And I say that because, you know, like Doge and Shiba, all these like fun coins and Safemoon, like if I'm not gonna lie, I've gone in on like Safemoon forks and I've gone in on like Doge, but it was just for fun. Like it was for the community because, you know, I love the community and I think, you know, without community, there's no project. And I do believe that community can be a driving factor for a project. And that being said, it's not that I think it has a ton of utility and that it's going to change the world. I think it's just for fun. So I do go in on stuff like that just for fun. And I think if people realize that that's just take it for what it is, then they'll be okay. And it's kind of funny that we're talking about Safemoon because well, here's a little kind of a personal thing. So me and my dad weren't really that close, but you know, I recently started programming, and he's a programmer. So I sent him the Safemoon code, and I was like, "Hey, Dad, can you take a look at this?" And he came back with the first thing he said was, you know, he doesn't do blockchain programming, but he does like more like machine code on like the on the EE side, and he said that there's a lot of problems with the code, and that's the first thing he said, and I was like, "Ooh."
Yeah.
And then I took the code and I tried to run it in Remix, which is like a browser deployer, and I tried to deploy it myself, and it wouldn't work. And so, I mean, that's where we are.
Yeah, well, and you made a great point there by saying like it's not fair to definitely to lump all of these meme coins together. There's definitely clear differences between something like Safemoon and something like Doge. Like there is a big community behind Doge. It is a lot more fun. It does actually have a medium of exchange value to it, and you know works more or less for what it's supposed to be. It is a lot of hype. It is a lot of fun. It comes in and out of the cycles, but that's totally different than something like Safemoon that has these glaring code vulnerabilities and just very obvious feature problems that could end badly for a lot of different people. So,
well, I think I would like to say this, like, we need to make sure we're drawing the distinction on what we mean by fun. Like, are we saying like it's fun because the meme is cute? Or are we saying it's fun because it's like throwing $100 down on 33 on the roulette table?
Right.
And that's really what you're doing. Like, that's the fun. It's the thrill of how high some of these can go. It goes back to what was going on with, you know, DeFi over the summer, which was put all your money in 20 projects. 3 of them will rug pull, 5 of them will 10x, 1 of them will 100x, and you'll come out on the plus side. But the numbers could go the other way too, you know? So I think that's the thing is like right now you're dealing with a lot of people that are just throwing money in like, look, I get it. We don't throw money into random meme coins, but people in my office do, you know, and this is just not something we personally have time for here because we're so busy with stuff. But over the summer we did it. You know, we threw money in a ton of different projects. We got burned by some. We crushed it on others. But I think it's not like the thing is we've all been here for a while and we understand that we're putting money on the roulette wheel. You know, the problem is you got a lot of new people who are coming in that think they're playing the closer to 50-50 bet on, you know, on blackjack. We're like, hey, you're going to win about half the time. You're going to lose about half the time, but you're not going to lose everything, not realizing that they're doing a 35-1 bet.
Yeah, that's a good point. Great casino references there. I think might be time for a Vegas trip soon.
Yeah, I'm not a gambling man. I am a gambling man. 100%.
I think when you look at a lot of the people that are all in on crypto and live it 24/7, most of them have a tendency to be less risk averse than others. So
yeah.
But speaking of fun, we've got GameStop now coming out with an announcement that they're going to be launching an NFT platform. Since that announcement, their stock shot up 14%. So I want to ask you guys, is this just a marketing play to keep them relevant, keep their name on the top of people's mind, keep them current and their stock going up so they can actually function? Or is this something real? Wendy, how do you think this is going to play out?
I think it's a combination of both. We saw a lot of hype with the Wall Street bets and with GameStop. So they know that they have a large, they know that the crypto community supports them because really that's what crypto is about. It's essentially breaking away from the big guys. So I think it was a very, very smart marketing opportunity. And also too, if it was any other stock, I would say, no, they're just doing it for the hype, but still we're talking about GameStop. Esports are massive. Gaming is massive. In-game items are massive. Why wouldn't they make NFTs? Why wouldn't they? It makes no sense for them not to hop on board and monetize this. I mean, to me, it's not only is it smart marketing, but it also goes hand in hand with what GameStop is as a company, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree entirely, and this could be a really good pivot. I'm curious to hear from you, Nerd Girl. How do you think this is going to play out?
Yeah, I more or less agree completely with Wendy, actually. So, I mean, it's like in 2017, a lot of companies were just putting like blockchain or crypto into their name. and seeing their stock rise as a result. So I'm sure that some of it is, taking advantage of the hype that's surrounding cryptocurrency and NFTs right now. But also it does make sense with GameStop being a gaming platform that they would have, that they would use NFTs for gaming, and everyone's using them right now, right? So also, celebrities and people seem to like really love NFTs specifically, even if they don't, love other cryptocurrency. So I don't know. I can't see how it wouldn't be a net positive. And I also see it as a really good opportunity for a lot of people who are looking to get jobs within crypto, but maybe want them with a company that's a little bit more established, where they won't have to worry about the potential for losing their job after when the bear market hit.
Yeah, that's a good point. So Cryptonauts, we know GameStop has a lot of nostalgia, a lot of brand around it. Like, is this the thing that they could do to bring them back and stay relevant? Like, is GameStop back for good, in your opinion, or is this just a flash in the pan?
Well, I would like to see GameStop come back. I grew up, going to GameStop, and I just have this, bias towards it because, I love it. I like the stock. I like, the whole, the experience. And, I hope these NFTs can give them some leverage. However, NFTs are so hot right now. I think I would say that they're almost overhype. I just have a lot of people telling me that, there's so many NFTs, and not only just NFTs, but also NFT platforms. They're just popping up left and right. So I'm a little careful about that. And I really hope that they do build something. I hope they're not just taking it and running off with it just because it's hot right now. I really, in my heart, I hope, that they really do something with it. And it could go well because esports is one of the newest emerging technologies, along with blockchain and, hardware itself and 5G. And, there's esports is going to be big, and it's already big in a lot of different countries. So they could potentially, stay relevant.
Yeah, I agree. And it is interesting with all the different NFT platforms that are launching. Like you mentioned, it's becoming a very crowded space very quickly, a lot of competition. So Ben, how do you think they can compete with, like, they don't have the blockchain experience, but they definitely have the brand and the nostalgia, and they've got the gamers' attention. So how do you think they'll slot in? Will the tech companies win out, or will they win with brand?
Yeah, I think they're going to have to rebrand, honestly,
Wow.
because we thought it was going out of business, but now I think they're going to have to call it Game Continue.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, it's also
10,
like
10
a,
dad joke.
continue,
Good
baby, my
10 dad
money's
joke.
in the Bitcoin, okay?
Yeah, an extra life, huh?
But yeah, so, knowledge that I already had coming into this, which is esports is already a multi-billion-dollar industry. Someone definitely did not drop me a note on the screen to say that. But you guys know how much I enjoy talking about gaming, for sure. But I think esports is going to be very big. I think what's cool is I always think things are kind of cool that I don't understand but seem very popular. Like, I never understood at GameStop, or just not necessarily only at GameStop, but in video game in general, like, there are these things you could buy for your Nintendo Wii or Nintendo Switch or something that was like a little, like a figurine. I think they call them amiibos or something. You could connect it to your console, and I was like, why would anybody want that? And they're like, oh, well, you can kind of like grow it and add stuff to it. And I'm like, now it makes more sense, because like that makes more sense as an NFT. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of stuff in the gaming world that's already been bent towards this digital collectible. It's kind of the thing I don't like about video games, is everything's like so collecting and, mixing stuff together and creating other things. I like to score a touchdown in Madden. That's what I like to do when I play games. Like, I don't get into the super kind of nerdy multiplayer games and all that stuff. But I understand how big that is. And so it's just interesting that, like, I, as the king of the nerds here, that try not to be a nerd, I understand how easy it is for GameStop to move over to this NFT thing. And I think it's perfect because it actually gives GameStop value, because they do have the name brand, they have the recognition. And I think you've got a lot of people out there that want to support GameStop. So I told this story before, but I actually went around Christmas time. I went physically into the store, into GameStop with my kids. Someone says, sounds like I couldn't get to the final level of Mario. I did beat Mario. I crushed it, by the way. I can get 100 lives on level 3. Okay, so y'all can suck it. But
No, well, those are your games. That's what I was gonna say. It's not that you're not a nerd.
those are my games.
You're just an old school nerd.
That's well, I just like. I like side-scrolling games. I like sports games. I like games with an end. I don't like the open world stuff. What were you gonna say, Wendy?
I was going to say, like, okay, when you were playing Mario, aren't you able to earn, like, different things and, like, save them? You can do that via NFTs. Because I'm from Nintendo 64 days and Sega Genesis days. I would play Sonic. I would play, like, Wonder Boy, like, all these games. And I couldn't keep my in-game items. And I just remember having to turn the Sonic off because my mom was like, it's dinner time. And I didn't want to get whooped. So I had to turn Sonic off, go to dinner, and I lost my place. I lost all my in-game items. And I was
rings.
So sad.
You lost your rings.
Yep.
That was what it was. It was rings in Sonic.
You just got to leave the TV on for days and days straight until you get to beat that level.
Oh, man. When my dad used to, like, get on these games, like, he loved this game called Mylon's Secret Castle for Nintendo. I hated it. I didn't know why he liked it. But he would literally leave, like, we could not touch it. Like, it would stay on for, like, weeks at a time until he finally beat it because there was no continue. So, cool. But anyways, the point here is I went into the store physically with my kids to buy games. And the girl behind the desk was like, I'm so sorry. We actually, like, don't even really have games. They're all just on the wall. We don't keep really physical copies of 90% of the games. And it's like GameStop's been trying to, like, almost intentionally sabotage themselves to close their brick and mortar stores. And so this is the direction they're going. But I felt sorry for that girl because, like, she had a job and, like, who knows, GameStop may close. It's cool to see they may have a different out for ways they could get people involved, like artists, and, you know, maybe they can find other roles for people that work at their stores and stuff like that. So I found myself going in and wanting to support it because it is just kind of sad what's happened to the brick and mortar industry.
Yeah, that's a good point, and that's Cryptonauts kind of mentioned the same thing. There's a lot of brand loyalty there of people who want to see them succeed just because of the fond memories they had when they were younger. And I think this could be the best pivot for them to a fully digital platform where they can, you know, kind of, like you said, rebrand themselves and kind of reemerge as a totally different product. So it'll be interesting to see how it happens. That's pretty much all we have time for today. It looks like we've got Nerd Girl and BitBoy tied with the most points, so we'll let Nerd Girl be the winner today. You got 30 seconds. Give the audience a parting thought. Tell them something that you think they need to hear before we go today.
All right. I think recently more and more people have become aware of the fact that the crypto media and crypto influencers, often they talk about things that they don't know. They say things that they're paid to say. And that's really dangerous. So it's really, really important for people to do their own research and really, really do your own research and not just rely on those people who you trust to give you the correct information. So a lot of people, in my opinion, missed out on a huge wealth generation, like wealth creation opportunity with Hex because everybody said that it was a scam. And if you feel like you may have missed out on that, there may be another chance for you with Pulse Chain. It's supposed to be the largest airdrop in history. If you're at all interested, please come check out my channel. Also, regardless of whether you agree what's in other people's wallets, like, why can't we all be friends? I mean, like, does it really matter if my coins are different from, you know, anyone else's coins? Like, why is that such a thing? It needs to end. That's it.
That's true, and we can all be friends, and we're friends with you guys. Thank you all for joining us today. We had a really fun time doing this discussion. If you liked anything you heard from all of these guests, the links are down below in the description, so please be sure to go check out their channels. Show them that BitSquad love. Give them a like. Give them a subscribe. Also, if you have any other questions for us, drop a comment down below and let us know what things you'd like to see us discuss in the future and who else you'd like to see on the show. We also want to take a quick second and thank one of our sponsors for today, Lexit, for sponsoring today's episode. They had an IDO on BSC. I didn't say BCS, on BSC today. They launched oversubscribed. They sold everything out in 45 minutes. It's a really good project. BSC has been crushing it as a launchpad. I always say it backwards every single time. I always want to say BCS.
Thanks for playing football.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, big shout out to them, Lexit, Lexit. Go check them out. We're gonna have a tweet coming out in just a few seconds. So if you want more information, just check out our Twitter. We'll see you guys tomorrow with fresh new guests and fresh new topics. That's all we got. We're out. speak.